go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the House of the Conqueror. I am Johnny B. Crazy, and we will be talking about some Watchmen today. The season finale has hit, the possible series finale, but HBO literally said season finale. They even wrote it on the screen, so I think we may even get a second season. We'll get into that. See How They Fly was the name of the episode. A lot of things that we have been talking about all season came true, and I have an esteemed panel here today. I hope everybody's I don't know. I hope everybody's having a good time. Let me know in the chat what you thought of the finale, complaints, thoughts, what you liked about it. First up, though, let me introduce Alicia Kingston, AK. How you doing?
What it do? I'm doing all right. Slightly melancholy at the moment, but I'll be okay. So let's talk about this episode.
Dr. Blue Chew's massive hog died with him, and I'm a little bit upset about that as well. I don't think that's what you're upset about, AK, so I'm not like putting words in your mouth there. But Fandom D definitely upset about it. His forehead, my forehead, they're good holders. What's up, man?
I wish I had a hairline joke, but I don't know. So I still woken up from a nap because I thought this stream was gonna begin at 9 p.m. So here we are yet again. I'm happy to be here in this panel talking about the final episode of Watchmen. Like now my Sunday is now cleared up so I can finish Naruto Shippuden.
Yeah, I don't know what you said. Sound like some kind of Japanese. We'll get into that in a second. No, thank you so much for being on here, man. I really appreciate it. This has been a really fun season. I appreciate all of y'all for coming on here and talking mad smack with me, dealing with me. I know I can be a handful sometimes. My dark comedy is not for everyone, but Dornish Wench seems to like it sometimes. What's up, Dornish? How are you doing?
How you doing? And what's up to the realm out there? Thanks for joining us for this final stream for a while. Tears are coming down, but I don't want to mess up my face because it's beef today. But yeah.
Yeah, that was very convincing. I feel like you're really going to miss me.
These are facts. These are straight facts. No copy. Facts.
Well, good. It makes me feel nice and warm and fuzzy inside. If everybody doesn't know, I got a surgery coming up. If you want to know more than that, make friends with me behind the scenes. Tech West is joining us tonight. I beat him up, so he's eating soup through a straw right now. Tech, how's it going, bud?
Man, it's going good. I have a disguise on today. I'm wearing a mask to, symbolize our final episode together. Man, it's gonna be boring Sundays from now on. I'm gonna miss it. But in honor of our panda, I'm wearing my panda mask. So.
Oh, I thought you were coming down with a bit of lycanthropy. So, well, I don't know, man. You've been kissing the wrong females, I think. But we'll get into that. So, this is the end, possibly. I thought it was pretty good, pretty solid. We have everything that happened with Ozymandias. We figure out how he get in the statue. He's basically Han Solo. We have the death of Dr. Manhattan. We also have a little more of a squid invasion, so the squid actually saved the world again, just in a different way. I don't know. We'll talk about squid later. Lady True, that's a crazy mofo right there. That's all I really got to say about that. Senator Keene, what can you say about him? That was a hero, okay? We got to honor him and also honor those fantastic underwear he had on. So, with that, I'll let Dornish Wench start it off because we were talking about a few things before the chat, and, well, she's got some good insight, and we did not get to see Lube Man. That is the first thing that needs to be addressed. I am highly pissed off about this. Where's the lube, Dornish? And don't say Senator Keene.
Okay, well, my man Petey, I did some time in the FBI's library this week, and my man Petey has been fired. He was fired by Max Farragut, the FBI deputy director, because he refused to report to Washington after all of the events that transpired in the finale. So they are basically telling everyone that he's stripped of his badge and to be on the lookout for him because they are suspecting that he may begin vigilante activities. And this is per the FBI director. Now, last week, Petey himself gave us a little file on Fog Dancing, which is a book that you can see Adrian Veidt reading in his cell when he's still on Europa. And in Fog Dancing, the main character, Howard McNulty, he dresses up in a silver suit and covers himself in this lubricant called SPF 666. Now, this lubricant keeps him from going up in flames while Dr. Manhattan and the comedian are torching all of the Viet Cong. So fog dancers and people like him wore this reflectine-like material to repel the heat. And
you
he
think it was
wrote an
also
essay
to
on
repel
this.
Captain Metropolis? But on bunch.
Could be. So Metropolis is out there for that ass. So
He is. That's the player right there.
Quite literally.
Out for that ass. So Petey wasn't having it. So basically, Petey just tells us his inspiration for Lube Man in that essay that he wrote back in 2005 on fog dancing. And fog dancing will come up a lot in this finale because it basically also gave us a hint into Lady True and Adrian Veidt's plots within plots, just like the book. So yeah, this is as we go, I'll put a little bit of fog dancing in there because it can be a lot.
Well, fine. You're sounding all fancy, fog dancy, and things. Maybe you should take a chancey. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But let's get into that. Let's get into Lady True, Adrian Veidt. We find out how they meet. We also found out how she was conceived. It was super romantic. The maid, I guess she was one of the people that Adrian brought back from Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken. I guess gave some kind of shelter to feel like he was doing charity or whatever. Bien wasn't happy about it. She was like, fuck you. Fuck you, Ozymandias. And literally she banged herself with the insemination device. Let me get all fancy on you. I don't know, just that kind of, I guess it's some shock and awe of film. We could have got it. She takes the semen. Oh, there we go. But they gave us a whole, I don't know, Basic Instinct shot. Insert Sharon Stone here, and we see how babies are made. So, Tech, I hope you're paying attention. Anybody, help me out here, guys.
I was laughing.
I don't know what. So was her only motivation then in that was to just have his kid and trap him somehow? Because I mean, it's Ozymandias. How excuse me, how is that ever really going to be something that would hold Ozymandias back or keep him from doing anything?
Well, if she was trying to trap him, she took way too long because she died and she didn't even reveal oh, by the way, you have a child.
She didn't get no money out of it. Superior genetics. Maybe she has this long-term goal. Smarter than we think she is. I don't know. Maybe Lady True popped out of the womb, started working on nuclear astrophysics. I know that's not a thing. At 4 years old, she pulled a whole Doogie Howser MD type deal. Before Bien died, she possibly knew she was going to become immortal, at least whenever that Bien could get this, not Bien, whenever Lady True could get this funding, possibly. But all in all, it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Because she never...
Yeah. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, she just never really tried financially or anything.
If there was a plan, it didn't seem to benefit her in any way, shape, or form. It didn't even really benefit True. I mean, yeah, she got some super smart genes, but in the end, that still didn't help her because her plan didn't come to fruition.
Well, you know, I would say that looking at it from a person who has come from a war-torn country with zero opportunity, she finds herself in this like indentured servitude. I think that for the next generation, she would want something better for them. And maybe she thought that if she had a child with these superior genetics, that her future would be better than her own. And as parents, we take gambles and they don't always pay off. And that's exactly what happened here.
Do you think she
Her
had
gamble
another
didn't pay
maid
off.
job lined up before she left?
Maybe. I know
I'm
this.
sure
I know
she had-
immigrants find a way.
She
I
had
know
some
that.
type of way to take care of that kid because she was not going after Ozzy for no money. So she did her thing. We don't know what that history is, but she raised
And maybe
that
she
kid.
was playing the long game. You know what I mean? Sometimes you do things that in the long run, they're going to pay off. There's no immediate payoff.
Maybe
So-
she stole some kind of other technology from him, some paperwork, some plans.
She probably sold an old super suit and sold it on eBay, and boom, she got.
She certainly, well, we could say this much. Adrian's password game is really weak because Dan broke it
Absurdly.
beyond broken. They're like, oh, Ramsey's the second. Boom. There you go.
Adrian too cocky for his own good. That's the problem.
Yeah.
A trait that he passed on to his daughter.
Yeah, most definitely. But I did like the comic book nod of the computer and Ramses the second, and just the way the entire office and Karnak were put together. I just really wanted to see Bubastis, but I didn't get any cats.
Yeah.
Apparently a great wank station for sure. Let me really quick.
Yeah, that was so odd. There was just like a wall, just a vault full of, you know, his stuff. That was so weird. That was like, why?
And what was
why
he
have
saving
that?
it for?
Exactly.
You don't want to have any kids, but you're saving your essence. Were you
Exactly.
gonna sell it or something? Did you?
Like, yeah.
Maybe he was gonna Walt Disney.
Adrian would not. He wouldn't sell any part of himself like that. So
He had some Walt Disney plot going on.
Well, I mean, maybe he wanted to clone himself a bunch of times.
That's what I'm saying.
He wouldn't
Like-
really have semen to do that, though, man. Like, bro, just admit you would enjoy jacking off into a jar, Adrian. Come on, man. You're still human inside. You have needs, whether you choose to ignore them or not.
All right, so Renee M. of House Stark has a really, really good point here. I like it. But really quick, let me say hey to everybody in the chat. I'm getting some nice confidence. Thanks, y'all. I know I'm an ugly bastard, but keep it coming. It makes me feel better about myself. Tim Eve, what's good, man? The ghost is here. Belta Lauda, man. Have you seen season 4 of The Expanse yet? I'm almost done with it. It's pretty fucking good. Mrs. Duncan the Tall. Hello, CC. How are you doing? Bravosi Broadcast, a.k.a. Lemonhead. What's going on? Otila Angel. Thank you. So happy to have you on the chat. Catherine Harding. You're too kind. Thank you so much. Hacks Dogma. What is up? The man, the myth, the legend. Hacks motherfucking Dogma. Okay, you get your ass in gear, Hacks, because I want a full 3-hour breakdown of this whole season. Thank you so much, and hurry up.
Yo, I've been looking, Hacks, for real. I've been looking for your damn thing all day, and it's still not up, sir. That's a problem. We need that corrected.
He takes a few days, okay? Just
Please and thank you, because I know when you give it, it's always very detailed and quite enjoyable.
You gotta wait for that quality, okay? Danny McKay, what is good? Okay, so Renee M. of House Stark puts plate down from what Vite said. He was a virgin and it didn't sound like he wanted kids. And the fact that she said, fuck you, when she did it, she may have done it to spite him. And I definitely agree that she definitely done it to spite him. But maybe she just wanted a fucking good kid.
It might
Maybe
have
we're
been
thinking
that
about it too much.
It might have actually been that simple. I mean, honestly, from the look on her face and just from playing what she said, yeah, she just wanted. She knew he didn't want any kids, and well, the biggest way that you can get back at a guy like that is do some shit that he would not expect. He didn't expect nobody to steal his semen and have a kid. It's so much so to where I don't even think she needed to replace that vial because Adrian wouldn't have noticed. Obviously, he wasn't checking the samples and making sure to look at his security tapes or anything to see that anything was missing or anyone broke into his sperm bank. So
yeah, I just see him testing the one sample. This isn't semen, it's lotion, and he's tasting it.
I think.
I mean, it's Adrian. Don't put it past him. He might have.
I think it was a plot to set him up, possibly be like, this happened, and now here's the result. Is my kid. So either it was going to be something like that, something along those lines. She could extort him for a ton of money, and also, of course, I know the reason why Adrian's celibate. Yay, because his girlfriend died. After she died, he decided to devote himself completely and utterly to his works because he was like, I can never love again. And,
I'll never believe that fucking story because Adrian does not act that way. Adrian does not act that way at all.
Adrian don't give a fuck
he's
about nobody but himself.
Because
asexual.
Well, he went cold after she had passed away, but his love for humanity stayed with him.
Try Blue Chew, okay?
He needs to try Blue Chew. Maybe it'll help him.
Dornish, I heard you saying shit.
No, just saying. Yes. Shout out to Blue Chew. Why don't they ever sponsor us? Because we talk about it.
Am I the only one that doesn't know what that is?
It's chewable Viagra. It comes in many forms. You can get your prescription online today.
I wouldn't know what that is at all.
BlueChew.com. Chew it up.
Hence
Get your wiener hard. Go at it. Call your girl.
Hence my affectionate
Call your
nickname
man.
for Dr. Manhattan, Dr. Blue Chew. So, yeah.
Blue Chew.
Yeah.
Blue Chew.
My tongue doesn't need such things.
Hey, even if it's still working, Blue Chew. Keep it going all night. Blue Chew.
You guys remember
if you have an
the
erection that lasts
episode-
more than 4 hours, go to a doctor immediately. Okay.
Immediately.
You guys remember
We're getting
episode
taken
2?
down off of YouTube. Oh, go ahead.
You guys remember episode 2, Martial Feats of Comanche Horsemanship, where they were showing the the first American Hero Story episode, and they were giving the warning, and they were like, something about the sensitivity to members of the LGBTQA+ community, and our ignorant asses were like, A+, what does that mean? Well, it means asexual. I had to look it up. So
Oh, there
and then
you
I was
go.
like, and then I was
Okay,
like,
I
okay.
totally missed that.
And I was like, okay, well, perhaps they put that A+ in there to give us a hint about Adrian. But yeah,
I also think the one-eyed Cyclops is a dirty, dirty joke that's been played throughout this whole thing.
And A+ could also stand for Adrian plus. Like, he may be Adrian sexual.
Like
he just
14
may be
people
into
just left
himself.
the chat immediately.
That's such a strange thing to put in the
There's
sentence.
the sexuality for that. We're late.
I don't know how I feel about that being part of my LGBT persona.
If you're asexual, that isn't sexuality
yes.
at all.
Sexual though,
There's no sexuality to that.
Yeah, but
right?
it still counts as a sexuality. I mean,
Man,
yeah.
see,
sure.
this is all
for
like,
just Adrian, I suppose.
Hey,
this
this
is
show got us
all up
extra
to-
political.
I tell you what, I do like what happened with Robert Redford. So he's fucking Democrat liberal. He's a piece of shit in this, and ended up looking like more of a piece of shit in this. I kind of like how they ended it. They didn't kill all of the white nation or whatever. They fucking killed all the goddamn. They killed all the leaders. I guess you get some
Nothing
kind of
ever
justice.
ends.
We're mad about this. Me and AK are mad about this. Will didn't get to see justice given. He had sacrificed all of this.
Also
That's my
pissed about
question.
that.
What
everybody's just wanting to
was
scream
the
about this and go.
justice? What exactly was the justice that Will was supposed to get from Lady True? Because if it was taking down all of the leadership of the Calvary, those are now just empty spots to be filled again. There's always people waiting in the wings. Nothing ever ends. That is the truest statement that lasts from the original canon all the way through this.
Yeah.
We may not get a season 2, but we still know if we did, there's going to be some extracurricular stuff going down. I mean, the season could totally stand alone. I would not be mad at all if we didn't get anything else, because this was a great run. But if we did, you can just imagine how much bigger and better they're going to make it. At least how much I hope they would make.
Well, they're going to have a lot more creative freedom, be able to make new characters here. You're still going to be based in the lore itself, but the story, this generational story, has seemingly kind of wrapped up, right? You're going to have the new generation coming in, and this is where, you know, we go back to the first episode and everything that it was about the first half of the season, which was legacy. And I think that's a good point. It's going to carry on to Angela's daughter. What's her name? I can never remember her name, but y'all love her so much. She saw the mask. She saw the, Sister Knight's costume, and I think that's going to affect her. She's going to aspire to be badass like her adoptive mother.
Which daughter are you talking about?
The oldest one.
I need you to
Rosie,
stop doing
maybe?
that. Do you mean Topher?
It may have been Topher. It may have been
I didn't
Topher,
see
but
the little girl. I didn't see the little girls paying attention like Topher was.
Yeah, Topher was the only.
Was it
like he
Topher?
was really. Yeah,
Topher
he was really
was the
into
only
it.
one looking.
wait,
Yeah.
He
does
saw the
Topher?
card,
Well, hold
he was
on.
like,
Does Topher have? Drop for 2 seconds. Does Topher look like Troy Polamalu
Who the hell is that?
with the Head and Shoulders hair? Because that's who was looking. Okay,
Yeah,
see,
he
I
has
thought that was a
long
girl.
hair.
I thought it was a girl. I'm sorry. I thought the lead singer. Differentiate till you hit that puberty, and then you start.
As I was saying, Topher
I didn't
has
pay
been.
attention to the kids that much, so I apologize. But that's not the oldest.
Topher is the oldest. Yes,
Oh, okay.
that's why we're
And the
saying.
only
See, I
other
was just
named
wrong.
kid
Oldest
in the
daughter.
entire show.
Anyways, Hanson, all three of them are girls, so it doesn't matter. There's some Hanson lovers in the chat too, so I'm just doing this on purpose.
Oh, come on. Who doesn't love Bop? Everybody knows the words to that damn
Right.
song.
Like, I hated it when it came out, because it just wasn't my vibes. But now that I'm older, if I hear it in Kroger, I'm like, bop, bop, bop.
Yeah, you are absolutely bopping your head.
Yeah.
But Topher was the only one that was really paying attention, and Topher has had that air about himself from the very beginning. So I don't think it would encourage him necessarily to be a mass vigilante, but I think he was already on the path of wanting to, be a part of, something that could bring justice to the people that are actually owed that justice. But I don't think he would go the vigilante route. It is possible that he could, most certainly. And if he did, what better trainer could he have than Angela?
Well, I don't know if she would train him after the speech with Will, but I will say this, that if she has the powers of Dr. Manhattan, which we're going to assume she does, this is going to affect them in a big way. If anybody knows who she is, they're going to be in danger at all times, even though, yes, she can relatively protect them, but she's not going to be the same person either. She's going to be a space
back
cadet.
to the theme, back to the fog dancer theme that nothing ever ends.
Yeah.
And that does come from that book that these characters have read. Nothing ever ends. It's in that theme, to the point where the main character, once he wakes out of this fever dream that he was having, because he's in a hospital bed and all these characters that he thought in his mind were part of his world, he's not sure what reality is anymore. And he keeps thinking to himself, nothing ever ends. And so he ends his own life. So there, in that comparison, Howard McNulty in this Fog Dancer book, to me, is like Dr. Manhattan. And where just him stating that nothing ever ends to Adrian is also a nod to that book, and where we see the theme in the show that nothing is ending. Dr. Manhattan may have ended, but he has transferred powers on to Angela, which now Angela is going to take up this responsibility, and Topher's taking notice of it, and it's just going to keep going and going.
See, and that's the thing where it comes to Topher and Angela. Like my bit of tinfoil that I have is she is going to get some iteration of his powers. I don't think that it will be his full power set, and I don't think he meant it to be, because
Agreed.
Angela would be the one to do what needed to be done within like her sphere of influence. And if she needs to pass on something to help the next generation on, it's going to be through Topher. And I think that's how Dr. Manhattan meant it to be.
If that's
Agreed,
so,
because they highlighted it that way, that they're just so alike, both between Angela and Topher.
Yeah. If the happens that way, then legacy does continue and things don't end, because it'd be a lot like in the first comics where Sally trains Lori to become the next Silk Spectre. So now you can be like, well, now you're gonna be brother Knight, I guess. It's gonna be Brother Knight now. But here's how you do your vigilante stuff. And Angela teaches Topher. So it would be just like the comics, which we see continuously repeat themselves. Everything from the comics is happening again.
Let me make a prediction for season 2, if there ever is one. Because this is what happens with teenagers. Angela's going to forbid him to go into the line of work that she was in. It was tragic for her. She went through some awful things to do that. But Topher doesn't see that. Topher sees his mom saved the world. That's kind of how she's seeing that.
Like Petey.
And you're going to have those rebellious teenage years that I think is going to be set up for something really cool to happen. I think. Anyways.
I think she's going to not try to shade him from any one side or the other. I think he's always handled things very maturely. Like when she was talking about the Judd's death to Topher, he straight said, okay, don't tell my sisters yet. They can't handle that. He was already, processing and being the first kid, because that's what we do. We, shield the younger ones. And I think she's going to give him the what's what for both sides and then leave it to him to make the right choice for him. I don't think she'll try to push him in one way or the other.
It's hard to do when you have a pubescent teenager with raging testosterone running through the... Kids are crazy, man. And they could be still good kids, but you're gonna, no matter what you get, you're gonna get some sort of rebellious streak, whether it be in the form of...
He's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Topher is extremely knowledgeable for a child his age. He's observant. He's gone through a lot already. He's got tons of inherited trauma.
Brother Knight and Lube Man forever. Ooh, that's weird.
Yeah, Brother Knight and Lube Man. But yeah, he's got enough trauma, inherited trauma, and his own personal trauma to keep this vigilante thing going.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how Cal used to speak to them and just, how real he was about everything, I think Topher, again, was the one that was always mostly affected by that. So he knows to take everything in before making a snap decision. And granted, like Johnny was saying, he is young. So yeah, he's going to stumble. He's not a perfect kid. I'm not saying that by any means. But I think he's going to put forth a little bit better effort, given everything that he's gone through, than what most people would expect a child to.
Him versus Bien?
That would be interesting. And that falls into your theory that Bien could, this new form of Bien, even though she has the old memories, she could end up being the next supervillain. I don't think she necessarily has to do that, but True didn't see herself as a supervillain either. So with both of them being so young, again, even with his teachings from Angela and Dr. Manhattan, and he's got Hooded Justice in there now, with the teachings that Bien has from her past and from seeing everything that happened around her daughter and what she tried to do, they could be either very, very good adversaries or very, very great allies. It would be either way it goes. It's going to be interesting to watch if we get that combination.
Bien could be one of the most fascinating characters we've ever seen. It's a person who's already lived a life, made their mistakes, and they have a chance to do it over again. What will she do? She seems to have a self-inflated ego, but also she's been through some traumatic events. This could turn her either way, and they could play with this in season 2 and have this be her main struggle, because her knowledge, her power, her interview of Angela, that psychiatrist interview type thing. Psychological, there we go. I think that's kind of telling into the point. I do believe that she's going to blame Angela and a few other people for her daughter's demise. Now, I would say, yes, she's old, she's been through the lifetimes, but she's still processing and growing up in her body as well. And we got to give that a little bit of credence, because you're getting your memories, she's experiencing it, but we don't know how far she has gotten through with it. She knows who she is, but we don't know if she's gotten all of her memories yet, and how is that going to affect her? Like, where does she go from here? What do y'all think?
At the very end of it all, when they showed her, they were panning around to everyone that was, in the immediate story. She was sitting in the back of that limo like she was in complete shock. And, she did slightly snap out of it a little further on towards the end. So you take into account of where she is right now. She has, I would say, the bulk, if not all, of those old memories back. So she has her old school persona, but she also has this new life that she has started to live in. And she has all the information of seeing what happened with her daughter. She has an extremely well-crafted empire at her hands right now.
You almost said disposal, and I think that's the right word.
I mean, yeah. If she chooses to do wrong or right with it, I don't know. It could go either way.
There's a theme too with these godlike abilities, right? Lady True was trying to take Manhattan's powers because she's like, he didn't do enough, right? And she felt that she could right all the wrongs that he refused to right. Will brought up as well that Dr. Manhattan didn't do enough while he was here, but what is enough? So if Beyond is growing up with this sense of wanting to learn the human psyche, seeing the things that her daughter tried to accomplish, and she's growing up in a completely different time, it's going to shape her in the future. And she may get this God complex that I could do it better.
Well, there's also a case of Europa and people that are looking for a God. I don't think Angela's going to be that God, and they are looking for a God.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very much so. It's interesting, and that's another place that we could touch on on its own season, to see how everything ends up unfolding in Europa, because they're probably going to go into extreme depression and chaos, being left on their own. They were on their own for so long already before Manhattan brought Adrian there, and now it's going to be even more time.
They don't even have their Adam anymore because the game warden is dead.
Yeah, the game warden is gone. So who's their leader? Is the only one that probably could go and do anything with that world right now is Bien, because she's the only other one besides Adrian that knows about it, as far as we know, anyway.
And I don't. Sister Night has kids. There. She's got a family to tend to. She can't just leave and go to Europa.
What family does she have to tend to?
Sister Night.
Right.
No, I mean
Sister Night. Yeah, so she wouldn't be taking over her hubby's, world. She knows about it, but that's about the extent of it. Unless she goes there and destroys it. But I think it's set up really good because it's all by the satellite. We know that Bien would have to know about it at this point. She was also involved in the process of what would you call it? Decarbonating fucking Ozymandias. And let's talk about that. How I was fucking right about the statue a long time ago, okay? It wasn't in there the whole time, but
I was like,
shout out for the statue. You did call that shit.
You got the statue.
That's about it, but whatever. And we never really found out what fell to Earth, but I guess we can assume it's the fucking capsule from the spaceship that he rode in. I thought it was pretty intriguing. I don't like the fact that he thinks he can dig a fucking big old hole with a horseshoe, but it is brick, so he's probably just rubbing through the mortar. I had to look
Lord
at that a
knows.
couple of times, but I was like, how the fuck did he do that? He might as well just try to punch through it. Then he catches the bullet, guys. He catches the bullet. He's still got some of his old reflexes. What the fuck? And then, I don't know.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Let's step back for a second. You remember way back when, well, not way back when, but a couple episodes back, when the guy handed him the horseshoe and he snatched it and he was like, I don't need it yet. Why did he know he would need it?
Because he planned everything.
The whole game, so he
exactly.
Well, she had told him the day and time the fucking thing.
The satellite was going to come around, so he didn't want to be bored, so he just entertained himself by putting on himself a show.
Yeah.
It lasted for 8 years, or maybe less. I don't know how long.
I think it was 7 on the cake.
Yeah.
7.
It was 7. It was 7. Yeah.
But at the end of the episode, he said 8 years.
He made
That's
a mud.
true.
Yeah. Okay.
The time on there is going to be different because it's a planet. Planets work, or well, it's got its own time because space is different like that. Yeah. So he's probably in a different time zone, but it was because it went from him saying 4 years I've been on here, and then it just kept going and going to the point where now he's saying 8. So Lord knows how long he's actually been on there. And
who gives a shit?
mean,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, who cares? No, who does care? It's been long enough, and long enough for him to play this long, extravagant game. So, as always, there's a story within a story. So we see the Watchmaker's son in the second episode, and honestly, it's like a foreshadowing that all of this is going to get planned out, and he just wants to put himself against somebody who he thinks is going to be better than him. And he figures, I'm going to make this guy play like I would, but he's wrong. And I knew he was going to catch that bullet as soon as he was getting a gun pointed at him, because it was essentially the same situation where Adrian's like, I've bested all of you and none of you are going to be able to do anything to me anyway. So, and then just like in the first comic, when he thinks he's successfully won, he hasn't, and he's been fooled, and he gets completely decimated again.
Yeah, he gets decimated with a fucking wrench. He's like, that guy never shuts up.
I mean,
Fuck you, mirror guy. Fuck you.
The look on his face
It's
when
Looking
Lord
Glass, damn it.
under arrest. He was like, wait, what? What the fuck you mean?
Yeah, he said, who are you to judge me? Like, what? How dare you? Like, how do you have the audacity to arrest me? Like, you didn't kill 3 million people. Like, and then he wants to go on this whole talk about this, you can't have a God complex or anything like that. And he's like, oh, trust me, I know. Well, you sure do know, don't you? Because you've been playing God for so long.
Look, Adrian isn't asexual. Adrian likes to have sex with himself as a example by all of the semen samples, and he can't bear to kill his children, which are the little semen babies, so he has to freeze them, and it's not for anything. I just figured this out because he's so fucking sociopathic, and he's in love with himself so much.
That's where I think you're wrong.
He can't get rid of any of his DNA.
I think he wants to play God so bad that he wants to make a bunch of other Adrians, or perhaps he's trying to get the right Adrian for him to have a worthy opponent. He wants, either way, I think he's going to put, his goal was to put that DNA in an adversary or person to create life. He wanted to do what Dr. Manhattan did, but Dr. Manhattan gave him the easy way. Hey, you go to Europa, I made people for you, go have fun. Like, here's some Legos, go play. Like,
You think those chimeras and clones he made were made from his stock? In the comic book?
Maybe Bubastis.
Yeah.
Ramses, I mean, the chimeras, the gods intermingling. I mean, this is all a part of Egyptian culture, history, and lore, or whatever. It depends how far you want to get into that crazy shit, but it's very, very fun. I like talking about it a little bit on my Patreon. I've already talked about some of that shit, but yeah, go ahead, Dornish. Sorry.
Going back to what he told the game warden, that he wanted a worthy adversary. The worthy adversary was back on Earth. Lady True was always going to be a better adversary than the Game Warden could ever be. So he was playing the super long game.
But did he think more so that Dr. Manhattan was the adversary, though?
Well, he knew True had a plot to take Manhattan's powers. So he was like, that's a worthy adversary because she's actually built this technology and she's actually figured out the frequency to find him. If she can figure that out and figure out how to make something to cage his powers in and steal it, then she is a worthy adversary. This is the person that I'm going to have to beat.
I wish she would have just found the egg at Angela's house. I mean, if she was paying enough attention, she would have just found the egg, or made Dr. Manhattan shit out a goose egg, a golden goose egg, like on Willy Wonka, and that's it. You know.
I mean, but therein is the rub. How did he manage to finally make her fall into his part of the plan in his mind? He said, "Save me, daughter."
Yeah.
That was the one thing that would make her really pay attention. And she even said it. It's good to be acknowledged. He was speaking to that narcissist behavior that he knows she has.
But his part of the plan was what? He didn't know Dr. Manhattan was going to send him back to his place to use the squid. He got an opportunity and he took advantage of it, I believe. Because he didn't expect to be...
That was part of the plan.
World.
That was
he
all
wanted acknowledgement for saving the world. He's like, maybe
you're saying that
people will appreciate me because I have a super evil, crazy lady over here that I can expose and I can take the credit for that. And I don't think he was thinking that Lori or anybody would rat him out or make him pay for what he did the first time around. Because he's like, look, there's an even bigger crazy than me. And now you guys got to help me out. You got to help me out because I'm going to save the world. You can't save the world without me.
Right, but if they weren't standing in the puddle of what used to be Senator King, they would have still been there and would have had nothing pretty much to do except a fist fight, maybe take some guns. I didn't see any evidence that he talked to Dr. Manhattan about this moment. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying he took advantage of the moment and thought he would have the chance again. I don't think he knew that this was going to happen. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think it was just even him saving the world again. It's him saving the world and being acknowledged for doing it because he couldn't get that fame or that acknowledgement the first time around. This time he wants all eyes on him no matter what. And that's what he took that opportunity to go for.
Yeah, and he almost got that. But instead, he gets a whack in the back of the head. And maybe we get a Night Owl next season if we get another one. They get to use the Owl Fucker 5000. Ain't that what the ship's called?
Archimedes. Don't disrespect my favorite Watchmen.
Right, and we know Owlman is we know he's still alive, so who's to say that maybe now Lori can't pull some strings and just get him on the same team that she's on?
And because legacy,
I don't know.
Yeah, Lori's on Team Comedian too, though. We got to remember this. She's not necessarily for the greater good. She's just kind of for whatever.
I think she's chaotic good.
I feel like she's on a chaotic good kind of situation. Like she wants to do the right thing, but she's also willing to like screw over a whole bunch of good people to do it. And it's just very interesting what she's turned into. I mean, that's why, every time I'm referring to her in the show, call her Agent Blake, because that's who she's become. She's no longer Lori Despezic, and she's no longer Silk Spectre or comedian. She's just this cold person. She's become her father so much that she's starting to get into that place where his mind was before, he got killed, where the whole world's a giant joke and he's the only one laughing. So
now think about this real quick also, because Chrissy brought up PD again just now in the chat. Johnny, offered up his thought that maybe BN should grow to be the next villain. What if that ends up actually being PD? Because he's fired from the FBI now. We know he has a penchant and a good love for all of the mass vigilantes out there. And he himself now is a mass vigilante. Lori is eventually going to be tasked to bring him in or take him down. Either one. It's all the same in her book. She's not going to care.
He's going to be a menace to society. He's going to lube people to death. There's going to be a mass amount of lubings throughout the whole country.
PD's a force for good. He's going to lube people up and get them ready to go. He's going to be a force of good. I know it. PD's just too good of a person. And he's so inspired by
curing dry orifices throughout the world.
Curing dry orifices.
Really? Don't co-sign that nonsense.
I'm gonna co-sign it. It was genius. But
I think Petey's in it for the right reason.
Yeah, Petey's a good person, and honestly, he spent time with a vigilante, and he sees all these other vigilantes around him, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So much so that he's been preparing for this for a while. We see the domino mask he has. We know he's Loop Man. He's read a story about this vigilante. He's got it in him to become this hero. So I believe that's what
you know what that sounds like, though? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like Adrian Veidt 1.0 from the original story. He had his knowledge and had his hero of the past.
His entire time in Tulsa.
Resources and time to plan and get stuff going the way he saw fit, being a hero of the story.
Petey's entire time in Tulsa, he was kind of like trying to get everybody to see the deeper meaning behind everything and telling them, like, you know, maybe these cops have a reason to fear for their lives. Don't make assumptions just because we're the anti-vigilante task force. Don't make assumptions. Get in there, find out the whole story. And every time they would have these briefings, he would come out with these memos to tell people, like, look, dig deeper. And people never wanted to dig deeper. The FBI had whatever, you know, case brought up, and they're like, no, this is how we're going to bring them down. This is exactly what it is. And shut up and go, you know, file some paperwork over there. But he really believes in getting down to the nitty gritty of things, seeing both sides of the spectrum, and that truth is important over everything else. The truth.
True enough, but the road was paved by good intentions.
Well, I think Petey is destined
I don't see him like that.
to be a number 2 and the brains, more so of a Robin or even an Alfred type figure. But let me go ahead. I'm just gonna say anybody that gets their superhero accessories from the local hibachi, you know, because you know those were just olive oil in the little squeezers there. He got them at his local hibachi while he was getting that teriyaki chicken made, and
he went to Benihana.
I think he's gonna be a danger of being a leak. Since he got fired, he's going to be more of possibly an Edward Snowden type techie character. I think they'll play on that a little bit. But Fandom D saying,
cool.
Tell me something. Tell me something good, man. You ain't got to talk for a little while, and you know.
No, I'm just hearing you disrespecting like Alfred and freaking Robin, and I don't see him becoming a villain either or anything. Hopefully, in season 2, they acknowledge in the show that he was like Lube Man. Because if people don't like look up PD freaking files, they would never know. It would just be just a random scene.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Would you call if Lube Man did a sidekick, which Dee Lee says sidekick Lube Man. If Lube Man did a sidekick, would it be called an Astro Glide Kick? Boom, boom. You might not have got that joke, but.
Hey, yo, did you guys watch season 1 of Punisher when it was on Netflix?
No.
I watched the first couple episodes. It's pretty good.
There was a character on there named, I believe his code name was Micro or Macro, something like that. And he was basically a tech guy that was in hiding because he, blew the whistle on some things, and Punisher ended up helping him, and that was the bulk of the storyline for that season. I could see PD being someone like that also. He's doing things from the shadows like he always has been, and someone else is actually going to be the face of actually truly exposing these things in a certain way. It's an interesting dynamic with all these characters. There's so many possibilities for all of them if they move forward. And if they don't, again, I'm cool. But if they do, there's a lot of good things they could touch on.
Most def. And PD's a whistleblower, man. He's the truth.
He is.
He's after the truth.
He's taken a bunch of documents with him. He's written a bunch of documents. This isn't a person you want to fire. And really quick, we got some people like Sarah Knightley. And you're right. They keep saying that there's probably only going to be one season. Damon Lindelof said that more than likely it's just going to be one season. But he's left this opening. And HBO has done something interesting, I found. And they did not call this the series finale. When they're ending a series, they call it the series finale. This was called the season finale. So they're leaving it open for now. I think it's kind of caught fire. It's so controversial that I think even if you don't watch it, people are talking about it. And the people that really fucking hate it, more than likely haven't given it a chance yet. But I don't know. It's really, really kind of fun to see. But I like when you have a season that every season's wrap up could be the end of the story. I kind of dig that anyway. You should have a nice wrap up at the end of every season anyway.
I mean,
if only like Lost was like that.
I mean, nothing ends, nothing ever ends. So we could possibly get a second season to this. And I don't know necessarily if I want a second season. I feel like it's good where it is because I just feel that we have some things that went unanswered, yes. And we have more questions, but we got the basis for a lot. And here we have a good story. So does it really matter what happens? Is it all worth it in the end, as Adrian asks? I think we've, come very far. A lot has happened. What is there next?
Do you let Will Reeves babysit? That's a really good question. Everybody give me an answer to that. That's
Best grandpa, 10 out of 10 grandpa. Back in my day when I was hood justice.
You can babysit parents.
After so many years of being in the game, not tapping into Will's knowledge of the situations he's gone through and, having that inner insight about the cavalry and everything that's going on, why wouldn't you want to, have that man as a tutor, and be, again, coming back to Topher, he is set up to have some really great advisors. Like he's already got the beginnings of an awesome small council. So why not utilize that?
When I was a kid, any story, like just shit was really magical. Stories from people you admired were just fantastic. Your parents were the strongest, most badass motherfuckers on earth. For the most part, just depending on what you had in child. I'm not speaking for everyone. In general, though, you have this awe and fascination. I can only imagine just, how open they'll be with their stories. I mean, go ahead and tell them kids some shit. They done seen everything. They saw their stepfather floating around as a blue dude with his dick out. I mean, nobody talks about that, but he should have definitely put on some clothes around those kids. I'm just kidding. No, but
for real,
they have seen everything. Metaphorically and literally. So I think that those stories that time, like we still don't know everything about these people. We think we know everything about Will, but there's missing years for everybody, and I think that's going to come into play. I think stuff still has an opportunity to come back from Vietnam. We don't know what Angela's motivations are going to be here. Do you stay in Tulsa? If she has this power, what do you do for the safety of the children? What's best? You know that this can't be if this is the end of the Cyclops, I'd say it's kind of one of the sloppy things they did in this finale. Thinking that you're going to end all of this by just killing the top people. The problem I have with that is they're leaving it open so they can just use another white power group possibly, which whatever. But I just hope if they do a second season, they'll get a little fresher. But you can't say that there isn't underlying 7th Cavalry or white supremacy everywhere. That's still going to be an issue in this story, but
I mean, it's also a great example of, how everything continues to move in a circle. The game never ends. The board is just reset and there's new players to come tag in. With when Will, after he burned down that base, he found that whole list of different sections that were around the world, and he took that with him. So the cavalry that was destroyed here, that's definitely not the end, and that could be, if Toffer does go into that line of work, that would be targeting all those different sections and essentially trying to bring all of them down, not just one part of it, because it's a lot bigger than we've been shown. So it'd be interesting to explore some of that.
I want them to make it less redneck racist, right? Have more of a, I don't know, a brain, a better agenda where you feel like they're a little more threatening. Even though Lady True was the real threat this season, I could see what you're talking about, AK, with that making Bien and Topher and all get a little closer, Bien maybe fighting for the good, maybe not.
And I think they were also trying to allude at the fact that, how they were talking about super conservative people, but also pointing out that all these lefties with a lot of influence and a lot of power are just as bad as your conservative right-wing people. So I think they did a good job of setting it up to where, pompous intelligence and all these ideas that you can make the world better. It gives people a godlike complex, and it's also just as dangerous as those people who want to suppress others. Because in that way of wanting to right all of these wrongs, you're also suppressing people, which has a lot to be said for Dr. Manhattan, which is why he's my favorite character in the Watchmen universe.
Does this piss you guys off that she didn't try to change people? She could have wiped their memory or did something with their memory to try to change it. We have the mesmerizer gone.
Yeah,
from
but
existence.
She felt like she was the smartest woman in the world. She kept saying that. I'm the smartest woman in the world. You're the smartest man, but I'm the smartest woman. And a woman would solve these problems differently. A woman can solve the world's problems. A woman would go about it in a different way. Lady True was very, yeah, exactly. Again, all these left ideas where, everything has to be so overtly politically correct.
She
and
was
all these,
the epitome of the far left. With
yes,
the clones,
yes. So everybody out there bitching and complaining that Watchmen is too woke men and yada yada yada. No, it's honestly both sides of the coin here. If you're really paying attention, it's right in your face. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Either if you're too extreme on either side, you're messing up.
You're messing up. Said, "Who runs the world? Girls."
I mean, and that's exactly the
Y'all are
point.
The givers of life, though. I gotta give.
That's exactly the point that Alan Moore was trying to make in the first place. So
exactly.
I think they really held true to that. And like for these kids, I just thought about it. It's almost like the great setup that Quentin Tarantino did with Kill Bill 2. He said, many moons ago that if there was a Kill Bill 3, it would have to be a decade or more down the line. So the two little girls that were at the end of that, they come up to be, the main adversaries of each other because of the feud that was between their moms. So now we have Topher and Bien pretty much in the same situation. Again, I think it could go either way with them.
Would that be a weird couple if they got together, since Bien's technically like 100 years old?
No.
Damn it, no.
She's an old lady in mind.
Don't start, man.
They are the same age. It could happen.
It's gonna be one of them Twilight situations where they're older mind, but young. Let's not do that. That is not okay. Come on. Yeah, it's an Esme and Jacob situation. Let's not do that.
We're gonna be meeting the Cullens next season.
Oh yeah, Cullens are the new vigilantes in town. Which, gosh, man,
That's the whole separate stream. Let's not even bring that into
let's
this.
not get into that. But yeah, as for what the future holds,
Tila
man,
said, nope, we're not shipping that.
we're not done reps.
Come on, don't knock it, man. It doesn't have to ever get
They better
romantic
not
with
knock
those
it.
two, but however
They're gonna
come
be
together,
teenagers.
if their storylines are paralleled and intertwined, either way it goes, it's going to be great to see. It's like how Lori and Angela, went up against each other, but in the end, they pretty much ended up being on the same side.
It's like
So
Peter Parker and Eddie Brock. Maybe they'll have that type of rivalry. Or
Perhaps.
Carnage and Venom. That sadistic fuck.
Yeah.
I wanna
Those are-
see.
ooh.
well, if they went,
That's scary.
That's a
favorite
bad
comic book.
that would be
combination.
brilliant to see
That is
unfold.
scary.
That is a bad combination of Carnage and Venom. That is a bad combination.
Well, think
So
about the
let's not-
story it could be
Yeah.
told with Topher and Bien being those
yeah.
characters, man.
Yeah.
And I just,
yeah, the
I know
symbiote
history.
hits down in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, at this point, we see constantly that the future repeats itself, or the past repeats itself. Sorry. So history could come back. All these things that happened in the past could come to light, and we could get a second generation, or like how after the first generation of Watchmen, yeah, like we could get a third generation of Watchmen, or well, I guess
This would be the fourth.
this would be no, because they're not Watchmen anymore. There's no Watchmen left.
American
Well,
Hero Story
there's
2.
Yeah.
The
As
story
far
of
as-
Sister
This
Night.
This is just
and
the
Dr.
Tulsa
Blue Chew.
Police. This is just
They
the
were never
Tulsa
Watchmen.
Vigilante Division. Well, yeah, they were Watchmen. They were
would
set.
never call it the Watchmen.
They had adopted the nickname because that's the nickname that people gave them. They were like,
Yeah.
these are the Watchmen. So they're the Watchmen. They are the Watchmen.
like
They will
who
always be
watches
called
the
the
Watchmen?
Watchmen.
So
Yes, that's where the whole "who watches the Watchmen" comes from, which is very prominent here too, because people are like, well, now it's kind of like who watches the federal government, because
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
like, everyone's like, what's going on? You're
Who's
taking
watching
down
Robert Redford?
Yeah, who's
Yo.
watching Robert Redford? Like who?
So-
federal government's getting away with a lot. So
Yeah, Dee just posted a good question in the chat. It says, so is Angela clear of all charges now? I feel like she is, because they didn't show any signs of trying to detain her at all. Lori's
More
focus
grandpa.
Lori's focus completely shifted, because Angela isn't the immediate threat in her book anymore.
Well, Lori's like, hell no, you trying to take down my man.
Yeah.
It's
And
been
That'll
a
just
dawn
be
on her
something
like,
petty.
the whole time.
What'd you say,
I
David?
think
That would be petty if she tried like arrest Angela because she was sleeping with Dr. Manhattan.
Angela may not be a police officer anymore. I think that's. I think she could get fired. That might be the extent of it, or you know what I mean.
I don't see if she was fired. I think essentially it would have to be on Lori's order.
Well, if she is Mrs.
I don't
Manhattan, then fucking, there's really no point in her being a cop. She's gonna be above that, really, a lot like John was.
I wonder if she's going to be as smart as John.
She's got the inhibitor though. She could use that again.
She does have the inhibitor.
Possibly.
Or
I
just
hope
use
she's
it
as
a
smart
memento.
as John is, because that's why John is my favorite in the Watchmen universe, because he doesn't let his godlike powers give him a god complex. He'll go and create, but at the same time, he knows better than to meddle into human affairs, because you cannot win. You just can't win.
And I think Angela will, personify that even more with her having control of, a portion of those powers. And I still want to see and get inside Lori's head a little bit to see how she really overall is feeling about the situation with just Cal and Angela. Because again, look at everything that he went through to still have the small amount of time that he did with Angela. And that's a love that Lori wanted from him, but could never get. He did so much for Angela and his love of her. So I really want to see what Lori truly thinks about that. They didn't touch on it at all. And that was
Lori and Angela were two different,
He's in
even though they're both dynamic strong women. We know that John doesn't go for weaklings. He wants women who are intelligent and you know, they got some moxie. But
True.
Angela, John, you know, Dr. Manhattan, that he has a flavor, and the flavor is spicy. But however, he in Angela, there's something much different than there was in Lori. When he went to Lori and started falling in love with Lori, Lori was 16 years old. So she was in that teenage phase where she's got all this angst, and she, you know, she was very pouty the whole time they were together. He goes and he gets with Angela when she's already a grown woman in the police force. It's a completely different relationship than what he carried on with Lori. So it's gonna be a different experience. So I think
Plus,
that's why.
Lori banged like a 60-year-old man. I don't know. Night Owl is pretty old with a beer belly in the comics.
Yeah, I want to say.
No offense,
He was
Mr.
like
Beer
in
Belly
his
Night Owl.
40s, maybe 45 or something.
And
But
that,
yeah,
he was
Lori
a
has
rebound.
this daddy complex. We all know that. But
He was,
she
yeah,
was
he was just a
different.
rebound. That's all.
Yeah, and she
Night
was
Owl's
very
coming
different.
back next season at 74.
I mean, shit, they brought old man Adrian back out, so why not?
You know, why not? Let's get
Night
that
Owl
Dusty
never
out.
really had any powers to begin with, though, except gadgets.
Except being, smart with
So did
gadgets.
Batman, and he still was able to whip Superman's
There you go.
ass time and time
You see
again.
Batman at
That's
75
right.
lately?
That's right. Let him know.
He's got
Let
to
him
pass
know.
it on
Hey,
like Hollis Mason did.
every person who has, you know, this all these gadgets and stuff like that, they usually tend to beat all the people who think they're high and on top, and you know, it's kind of the underdog story always. But yeah, I think one of the things I like most about Watchmen is that nobody can ever get too greedy in this comic, or nobody can ever be God, because once you're God, you're going to die. Like there's just like, it's just like the joke, the God, you know, God gets hit with the brick and he goes to hell. Like there's no hope for you if you get too cocky, and it shows the big falls of hubris. Like there's a story within a story, and there's many lessons in Watchmen, and one of the biggest ones is never play God, and I love that about this series.
Yeah, you know what that just made me think of? That punchline was basically Laurie and Ozymandias. Ozymandias was that one that, you know, standing with the God complex, thinking everything was all well and cool, and then here comes Laurie like, you're under arrest. That's the brick hitting him in the head right there.
Yeah, and he's also the guy who killed 3 million people.
Well,
He's
say a
like,
wrench
God's
was
like,
thrown
you're
up
a
in the
monster.
air. A
Yeah,
wrench
'cause
was
he's like,
thrown in
you
his
know,
plants.
Yeah, a wrench was
He
thrown in
pops
his
his
plants.
nuts. That guy
There's a
ever
wrench.
shut up?
That was funny. That was
D.
funny.
Lee
That
says
guy
Night
talks.
Owl's going to come out of prison jacked. I do think he's been on testosterone replacement therapy, HGH, and he could probably do those prison pull-ups, you know, where you go
I feel like
round
he's
about
gonna
and
come out
side
like
to side.
Rorschach. I feel like he's gonna come out like Rorschach. Like he's gonna be a completely different person. He's gonna have that Rorschach mindset, and we're not gonna see the same Night Owl.
Could be
I think we'll
possible.
see a lot darker of a Night Owl. Which, shout out to Damon Lindelof for doing something for Rorschach again, because Angela is using
Wow.
Rorschach's favorite method of torture, snapping people's fingers. Like she's torturing the guy by breaking his fingers, just like Rorschach does in the comics when he's trying to get information. He's
Not my favorite part.
breaking
It's a black
fingers.
and white character in this. I mean, I know we got the beans and shit with Mirror Guy.
Nah, looking
but,
glasses. Looking glasses
know.
are Rorschach for sure. No,
No,
looking glasses. No,
Looking Glass is definitely way nicer than Rorschach ever thought about being. Rorschach had split personalities for one, and that son of a bitch, yeah, he's pretty sadistic in his own right. Rorschach was a definite anti-hero. You cannot say he was a good guy.
I wouldn't say he is a, well, there's no, the lines of a hero are blurred. Like there's no complete
hero, maybe
good
guy.
He's
not a good dude. He's
I mean,
fucked up.
He
That's
does
just my opinion,
bad things with good intentions. He's another person who justifies the ends with the means, you know, or justifies the means with the ends. My bad.
Chaotic.
Yeah, he's a chaotic good, he goes around, he snaps. But is anybody really at that point
I
like
don't
a
want that
good
dude
person?
near me.
I mean, I don't know, because if Night Owl, like, think about Dan. Dan as a
If
person, he's a
Rorschach
good
went in the world, we
person.
wouldn't have a white power racist 7th Cavalry, right?
Hey, that's
I'm just
not his
fucking with you.
fault.
He said, hold on just a goddamn second.
You wait just a goddamn minute, Rondo. You can't. Yeah, no, Rorschach is. I mean, yeah, but Looking Glass is definitely our Rorschach because he's just too similar, man, and the way he functions, because it's not it's not his
Look,
cruelty.
he ate beans. I'll give you that.
He ate beans. He has the same analytical powers as Rorschach, because Rorschach's whole thing is he's able to psychoanalyze somebody. That doesn't take much from him. Sure, he won't. Looking
He
Glass
did it
won't
while
do something
torturing
horrible.
people, though.
So
Yeah.
are we saying
Looking
are we
Glass
saying that
is-
LG?
Go ahead, Mom.
Are we saying
that LG is basically Rorschach with a proper Bible upbringing.
I
Is that what
guess,
we're
man.
saying?
And without a
pretty
split
much.
personality.
Yeah, that's essentially what he is. He's our Rorschach for sure, though, because
Look.
he's provided us enough Rorschach stuff for him to
I think
be.
your points are valid, but I don't like it. So I'm gonna reject.
Hey,
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
reject everything you're saying to me. But
I didn't
no,
like that you were right about that stupid statue thing. I was
Well.
like, it's too obvious. It can't be true.
I'm sorry,
And
but a
then
lot of this
Mando.
was obvious on the
Yeah.
season of
And
the
it was
Watchmen.
Yeah, a lot was obvious, but this was, oh man, this was so fun. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to tell Johnny he was right. It was like, oh man.
Fuck off, Tech. Don't be said you gotta tell me I was right. What'd you say, AK?
Yeah, BBM had jumped in and said something just now, but I didn't hear it.
Oh, BBM. Let the light shine.
Did I
off your
jump in and say
forehead.
anything? I
Nah,
didn't
she's
say
just trying to
anything
get you
at
to
all.
talk, man. Say it.
Oh, I thought I saw you on mute. My bad.
No.
I thought so too, though. Not for
Alright,
nothing. I
so-
thought I heard you say something.
Let me just
Interesting.
spit this out. We'll get into final thoughts in just a second, but I want to ask each and every one of you. We'll start with Fandom first. What was your favorite fucking moment of the fucking season? And please tell me it was that giant blue dick.
You know it's now.
Fandom?
Just stop it. Just freaking stop it, man. Just.
I'm trying to make you feel better, man.
But seriously, of all scenes, that's probably my favorite. But at the same time, it's just disappointing. It's just like Laura going down that trap door in that episode. Like, granted, even like we all hated that it happened, but even rewatching it is just still hilarious and still stuck in my mind to this day.
I tell you what, I did not expect you to pick that one. That was threw me off. I hated that scene, Fandom, but I do have respect for you liking it. It was this very humiliating, almost a come to Jesus meeting for Lori when you think about it. I did like the acting. I just did not like the fact that she did not move for like 40 clicks of that remote. She just like, what's happening? She was like Mace Tyrell. I do talk about that too much, though. Sorry for
real,
bringing it
she-
back to dicks all the time,
For real.
as AK has pointed out. But it's okay. There's lots of D to go around. AK, what was your favorite moment of the season? Just forget what I'm saying about dicks.
I don't know. It's hard to pick just one, honestly, because there were so many great ones. But I guess one of the most recent, I would say, was the scene where Angela had to bash Cal in the head to pull out that inhibitor, and then the final line of the episode is, "Hey baby, we in fucking trouble," and fade to black. It just leaves so much, that's a cliffhanger that was very satisfying for me. But like I said, there's a lot of great moments, and I think besides that, some of my favorites were seeing the whole of Angela's trip on what's the name of the damn drug?
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, yeah. That whole episode, everything in that was greatness.
even Captain Metropolis's power bottom. It was
It
top
was
form.
it was part of the story. We needed to have that information.
Yeah, apparently. That's how he got the house later on. I will say really quick my favorite scene of the episode, this finale, and I'll go back to Dornish and Tech really quick. But I thought the moment that Dr. Blue Chew looked at Angela and told her he was reliving all the memories, all the moments that they had together at the same exact time. Not gonna lie, guys, I had a tear. I had a fucking
Oh,
tear
you saw
at that moment. Yeah, you know what? At least I can admit it to myself, you piece of shit. But no, I did. It was pretty emotional. I like that part. I would say what I didn't like is that Dr. Manhattan was basically Arnold Schwarzenegger in blue mud, waiting for the predator to come by. You could see little flakes in there, but that's like one of my only complaints. As far as the whole season, I'm gonna wait till it comes back around and then I'll give my 2 cents, which of course I know everybody loves. Give me all your money for my 2 cents worth. I'm just kidding. Tech.
Let's see. I have two, maybe even three, because I do really like the whole episode of Dr. Manhattan explaining his love story with Angela to Angela. I think it was so interesting. And like, I don't know, it's so beautiful to see how the relationship, works and how it came together and how I feel like this is actually the only woman that he's truly ever loved. Like he's really deeply in love with Angela. He shows the most emotion with Angela, and it's incredible. But yeah, but I also enjoyed the Ozymandias speech when he's telling Crookshanks what to type up, and he's talking about the most honorable game warden. I always love listening to that part because it's hysterical. And I also like watching him draw out his plans and start building things. And in the back when they're playing the poor Israelites, and he's making his suit to go into space. I love that scene.
I'm not gonna lie, underrated scene is the fucking babies in the lobster traps. I just thought about that. It's just mind blowing the day in the life of Ozymandias and his prison cell that we didn't know at the time. But Tech did, because he called it, that was Dr. Manhattan's godlike paradise, so to speak. Dornish
Speaking
Wench.
about the music,
Oh,
real quickly, this
yeah.
show did an amazing job on the music in every episode.
Most
It
def.
really did. It really did.
Mhm.
Fucking Tim Eef loved it as well. And good night, Sarah Knightley. Knightley. Night. Keep your butthole tight. Anyway, all right, go, Dornish.
So yeah, for me, my favorite moment with the book canon being used is the payoff we got with Hooded Justice. So just to get the American hero story shot of Hooded Justice going through the window into the robbery in process, to go into the nostalgia episode where you find out he's running and he has to jump out of the window because he's being shot at. So just finding out the truth about who Hooded Justice was, the truth behind him and Captain Metropolis, all these things that in book canon you wanted to know about. Because the original Minutemen for me was one of my favorite parts about the original Watchmen comic. And that just Hooded Justice for me just stole everything. And then Adrian, but Hooded Justice for me is my favorite.
I definitely have to agree with that. I think for me, it was the whole getting acquainted with Lady True and what she was all about and the technological marvel that was the millennial clock. I would say I'm slightly underwhelmed because still don't even know what the fuck it was going to actually do besides, turn her into Dr. Manhattan, basically. It did kill Dr. Manhattan. Maybe that's specifically what it was designed for, but we know it didn't get
Wasn't it like
finished.
a big tachyon wand?
Yeah, but I thought, if we were talking about last week, that it was possibly gonna just shoot tachyons out and be like this some sort of barrier, but it was used a little more directly in the making of that cage, which was made from all the lithium batteries. We did get a payoff for that.
I think we were just also excellent co-writers that we were like we got Game of Thrones fever
Yeah.
where we all had better plot lines. And we're just kind of like, but why didn't my plot line come true?
We really,
yeah.
we really, really did. I would say, like, my favorite moment of the entire series was looking back on it, the little moments with Cal, the books he was reading, For Whom the Bell Tolls, a couple of other ones that I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's just those moments. And
He also read Dog Dancer.
the philosophical and scientific nature of, and the nature of there not being an actual linear time for Dr. Manhattan, that everything's all happening at once. Like, the one thing that really stands out to me that I can think of is the conversation where he met Angela for the first time, and he drinks his own egg, to make sure that no one else gets a hold of it, and just everything, the whole being of them falling in love. And Dark Mother threw in here, "This is when I fall in love with you." Yeah, like, I felt like not only did he know he loved her, but he found a worthy successor. Did I drop again? God dang it. Am I back? Okay,
Oh, no.
I think we're back. Alright, so we're back. Anyways, I don't know where I stopped at. Where did y'all last hear me saying something? I was having a good little rant, too. Oh, yeah, okay, so, can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, everybody's like, just go.
Show, keep going.
But okay, so with the nature of them talking, him finding his worthy successor, I think it wasn't just that he fell in love with her. I think love comes a little more easily to him than we're led to believe. I don't necessarily agree with Tech that Angela was the only person he truly loved, because he did love whatever his first girlfriend was that died from that dick cancer.
Janie. You never remember her name.
Slater. Janie Slater.
He loved her. And then he admitted to himself, she's looking older, and that he falls out of love with her. So I don't think Angela had a chance if he would have stayed alive for much longer, He don't like old women. That's the one thing that Dr. Manhattan is so messed up, but it's true.
That's his one human quality,
That really is.
He's flawed.
That it really is. I guess I can't fault him for it, but
I mean, that's another thing, though, that would, I think, show significantly for how much he loved Angela. I don't think he would have left her after her getting older.
He met her when she was older. He met her older already. She was in the police force, and he's been with her now, and she's not a young woman. She's not a teenager like Lori was. So he's dated a teenager, and him and Lori,
hence
I think
why he decided to commit suicide.
Everything ended when she was 35. he was with Lori from age 16 to 35. So.
Yeah, he couldn't live with it anymore.
That's why Angela's his one exception.
Yeah, I think there's something different
10 years
about
and he had
Angie.
to kill himself. I mean, y'all's arguments falling
There's
off.
something about Angie.
Stop it, Johnny.
He's like, fuck this. She's getting old. I gotta kill myself. That's messed up, Dr. Manhattan. I can't believe you would do that. I'm sorry. I'm being so mean. Dornish, say something. Yell at me. I know you were talking and I rudely cut you off with a horrible age joke.
Dee Lee says that, is Dr. Manhattan Blue Hugh Hefner. We might have to start calling him Dr. Blue Hugh. Yeah, Blue Hefner or Dr. Blue Hugh.
Peter Griffin, you are looking nice and ripped. You must be on that testosterone, son. Hit me up. Okay. All right. So let's give our final little thoughts here. And I'll let Tech go first because he's got to go to bed. don't
Actually, vacation's coming up.
Yeah, so I'm good. Yeah, I'm good right now. I got finals, which is really just us sitting in class acting like we took a test, but we didn't. The test is literally, what's your favorite part of this class? I'm passing. I don't really care. What was the question? I blinked out.
Oh, there was no question. Final thoughts on this episode, and I guess the series in general. What do your final diatribe of the season? This is it. Say what you need to
Man.
say. Try not to be racist, because I know you're super racist.
He knew it, Loki. But man, what a crazy, crazy adventure this has been. I'm so glad that I think this is the first series where all my theories were absolute garbage, and it was kind of fun. It was fun, most of all, seeing all of our theories coming true. I found myself many a times, yelling, "We did it!" because we figured it out. We figured out something. From everything from the Save Me Daughter to you figuring out that Adrian was in the statue, everything was just coming together so nicely. Cal being Dr. Manhattan, Europa, all of these great things started coming together, and just seeing a lot of the comic being used and everything flowing together so well. I think it's been an exceptional series. Hopefully next season it doesn't piss people off with its social justice, warrior stuff. But
As long as they don't have to fight a polar bear at the end, I think people will be okay.
yeah,
That's a Lost reference if you haven't seen Lost.
yeah, it's been a great series. It's been a whole lot of fun talking about, and man, I hope we get a season 2. If we don't, it's still been fun, and man, what a great show.
That's all right. I'll find another show for you to talk about. Take advantage of your giant brain, sir. You got a nice forehead too, so we'll get in on that at some point. AK, I saw you unmute. I'm sure it was for a retort, but go ahead. What's your thoughts on this season?
My final thoughts on the season is this season was spectacular. Let's be real though. After season 8 of Game of Thrones, HBO needed a solid win, and they got it with this show. I was very pleased seeing it. I've been a fan of Regina King since way back when she was on 227. That was my homegirl, and I've just watching her career and how she's grown as an actor to from 227 up to the Watchmen. Now she is just flawless. Just everything she's been in, I've liked a lot, or flat out love, just because she's awesome. And this story altogether was just really great, and how they did tie in from a lot of the original comic canon, and even pulled a few things in from the movie verse, and gave us a great backstory for a character that a lot of people have always been curious about in the past. And it was just great to see how everything was broken down and put into place, all the time jumps that, when you play around with time, is a lot of folks don't always get it right. I always say people should, consult the BBC before doing time travel, because they're time lords.
Yeah, even Doctor Who at times be like, be iffy, but yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The timey-wimey can be confusing, but the way Watchmen did it, it all worked. And, it was just a great pleasure to watch. I won't be mad if we don't get a season 2 or any other follow-up seasons. But if we did, I just hope that it would be bigger and better and just as well put together and thought out, with how these characters were so humanly awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, it's really about the humanization of the story of the characters and how relatable it is, even though it's in an alternate timeline, an alternate dimension, so to speak. It's a fantastical world that's dark and heavy, but that's kind of a key to a lot of stories like this, especially when you're getting far away from what we know as reality. You've got to have those stories of the individual characters. And I would agree with you on everything about Regina King. She did a fantastic job as Sister Night. Some of her interviews before this season popped on was a little interesting, but I've always liked her work as well. Yeah. I think it's a Fandom D Saints forehead's turn, and then after that is Fandom D Saint, and then my forehead will go, and then I'll let Dornish talk, because she's the whole reason all this started. All these great people are together is because of Dornish Wench. So we'll kiss her ass a little bit. Fandom D, go ahead.
I swear, man, after that surgery where they're going to install that brace on top of your forehead and give you a great hairline, this freaking forehead wars will be over, truly. But yes, thank you for
I'm
having
weak.
me on. Thank you for having me on yet again. I think, 9 straight weeks? We didn't even miss a week. We tried to stick to it, even though it was like on the same Monday or so. We would switch like Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. But it was great talking to each and every one of you about the show. When I heard about it, I was like, I'm going to watch it, but I don't know what to expect and how they deliver truly. And if they give us a season 2, I'll love it because I'll probably be talking with you a lot yet again on the panel as well as within the live chat. And hell, now that this show is over, I can return to my corner alone and watch CW shows because no one in this damn panel watches damn CW shows. God damn it. But yeah.
I like
Yeah, I'm
Supernatural,
just
but,
saying.
it used
Yeah,
to
and
be
you
a
still haven't like freaking
non-CW
finished
show,
it,
though.
damn it. God damn it.
Yeah, I gotta
What do you
get it.
mean? It always been.
Nah, it
It's
was
been
on
like
TNT to begin with. I think.
No, it was. It was on WB originally.
That's where I
Then when
watched
they
it. That's where I
Yeah,
found it was TNT.
yeah. Nah, WB, damn it.
That's where I started
That's where it
watching it.
originally was, and then
I
they
don't believe
partnered
you.
up.
I don't think you're old enough to
Nah,
remember the
bro.
beginning of Supernatural. It was like 20 years ago, man.
What you mean? I'm 25. What you mean?
Exactly. You were like 5 years old when Supernatural started. I don't know how you even have
Not
caught up with
really.
everything. I'm just messing
I
with
think it
you.
came out in 2003.
It hadn't been that long.
So I don't know.
I know a little bit about Supernatural only because my
Little isn't
friends
enough.
used to watch it. Well, only because I never watched it because my friends tried to put me onto it and it just didn't go well. It wasn't my cup of tea. But I was put on to Doctor Who because I kept seeing all the kids with the stuff. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to go check it out for myself. And thankfully, I watched it because this is a really good show. But
It's a very
yeah,
fun
I couldn't
show.
get into.
It's fun.
But I couldn't
You were
get
hooping
into
for a short while.
I couldn't get into Supernatural for some reason. It just wasn't my cup of tea.
Oh, you like
Instead,
them Power Rangers. I know what you like. Them Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Speaking of
Actually,
which,
that is my husband.
the original Yellow Ranger's birthday was today, I think.
That's
That's
racist,
dope.
fandom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Rest in peace, Rio Ranger. She was taken from us too soon.
Yeah. Super racist how they did that. But yeah. Yeah, no. But
Night
I
Dark
mean,
Mother.
I saw some great shows in the in that period of time while I was watching Doctor Who. Like I couldn't get into Sherlock too much.
What you doing, Dornish?
She was telling me to stop leaning. I couldn't get into to what was it? Sherlock. I couldn't get into Sherlock. I did get into Ash vs. Evil Dead. I was super late to that though. But that's one of my favorite.
Dude, you gotta watch the original movies first.
I've seen Ash
Army
vs.
of Darkness.
I've seen Evil Dead.
You seen Army of Darkness?
Yes, I've seen Army of Darkness.
You got.
How
Give
y'all
me some
stole
sugar,
Fandom's
baby.
thunder?
Huh?
How y'all stole Fandom's thunder? Let my man
Yeah,
speak.
Fandom. Come get
Fandom,
your thunder
back
back,
in here, man.
Speak about what?
Got that
I'm still
mesmerized
freaking tearing
career.
up because this man has like stopped watching Supernatural. Like, get out of here.
You know,
It's just my
Supernatural
thing.
only got its super fame because they came on as a replacement for Charmed when
No.
So shout out
Don't do that. Don't.
Supernatural wasn't that good. I don't care. You can at me.
I'll
And
tell you
we
this,
went
Charmed
for
was way
15
worse. That
seasons
acting.
strong. Charm
Hey,
ended
Supernatural is no Ash versus Evil Dead. It's no, one.
early. How would you know? It sounds like you even finished the first season.
Look, Tech,
because
you
I
can
did-
kiss
I
my
got through the
boomstick,
first-
okay?
And none of that is True Blood because that was my show before.
It
even though
was
the
until,
last
like, the
season
last
was
two.
ass.
You know who my
Last
favorite
two,
character in
last
True
two,
Blood is? Lafayette.
Yeah,
Favorite
man,
fucking
Lafayette
character
is
in
Doesn't surprise
dope.
me.
Yeah, Lafayette is dope.
Doesn't surprise
I
me.
love
Lafayette
Pam.
is fucking crazy.
I love Pam. So
I'm waiting for the day you show up with a bandana on your stream.
Well, man, I got some vampire blood. I'm gonna go get Jason all strung out. Fucking Jason, that piece of shit. I hate Jason. Anyways, we're talking about fucking True Blood and shit. I'm gonna shut the hell up. Did I just freeze? What's everybody doing?
Not for me.
Oh, I think Dornish froze in laughter. Dornish, it's your turn to say your final goodbyes. Cry a little bit. Tell me how awesome I am. Don't be afraid to get your nose brown. Just kiss that ass and let me know how awesome it is. Okay.
I just want to thank everybody for coming together to talk about Watchmen. It is my favorite graphic novel. Before Batman Year One, Batman Year One is number 2 for me, but it's my favorite graphic novel of all time. It really got me into DC because I wasn't a DC person before. And then I realized that DC was incredibly dark because of Watchmen. So, and shout out to Alan Moore because he's also a November 18th baby, just like me. So maybe we share those nihilistic qualities, which is why his book spoke to me. So, and I'm just
Feel bad
grateful
for your
that
son. The 36th chamber is going to destroy him.
I'm never escaping that.
I'm just grateful that I got a chance to talk about this with you guys on the panel, with all the beautiful people in the chat. I'm just grateful because this really is a positive outlet for me. And it's nice to see people who love Watchmen as much as me. And maybe some people love it just as much as I do now.
Hey, some of us may get lubed up before we live stream.
You know?
Who knows? Oh my God.
Hey, I forgot actually. I got to give a shout out to Dornish and Chrissy of Old Stones because I didn't know this panel is being put together and they got me hip to it. So once I knew, I hit up Johnny. Shout out to him also, and he was like, "Yeah, you can join the panel." Obviously,
Yeah, JBC has been the ringleader. You know.
Yeah, I've appreciated being here. Thank you for having me on.
I got some Kool-Aid for y'all to drink. I promise my name's not Jim Jones. We'll figure it out at some point.
Damn.
Look, God, that was the most awful thing ever. I guess we'll end on that. Just awful tidings from Jonestown. No.
No, I'll crush that right now.
Oh my God. All right. I'm sorry for bringing this back. I thank everybody for coming out. I especially thank everyone on the panel. Y'all are fucking awesome. You're in my heart. Let me get all mushy about it. Dornish, thank you so much. Tech West, I appreciate you sharing your brain with us. Fandom D Saint, good fucking bye, bro. Love you, man. Love you, man. AK, thank you so much. This has just been fantastic. I know everybody missed me. Just give me a bunch of money and I'll come back sooner. As Dee Lee says, I'm trying to rob you all the time. No, I'm just kidding. I'll be back soon. I'm getting surgery on January the 2nd. Hopefully, it don't take but about 6 to 8 weeks to, recover. I don't know. I might be back a little bit before then. Just depends on what my body says. But yeah, there'll still be stuff going on Patreon. Speaking of that, let me say thank you to all my patrons really quick because we got some awesome peeps, all my friends. I love them so much. And I do a bunch of work on there and I have fun just doing stuff and talking into the mic like I'm doing right now. Amy True, Anime Love Nicole, Bobby Catalano, Catherine Cronin, Catherine Harding, Clarissa Thompson, Dark Mother, John St. Baptiste, Casey of House Lorbridge, Katrin C. from My Point of View, Nancy T., Santivia Major, Steve York, thepodcastat.com, That Family of Podcasts, and D.D. Lee. I'm robbing him. Most of all, D.D., I am robbing you. Okay? Anyways, I do like robbing people. Right? Don't everybody like a little robbing every now and then? It's a good pastime. Good pastime. That's at least what they say.
You can keep that one to yourself. Thanks.
Just kidding. Whatever. We'll play off with a little bit of music. I hope y'all had a really good Monday. Maybe this helped y'all's week start off. Tech just busting in, saying stuff. You got something to say, Tech?
My bad. No, I was just going to say goodbye, and then I was like, wait a minute, never mind.
Oh, yeah. Everybody say, holla for $1, do something strange for a piece of change. Oh, no one's going to say that. Okay. I'm sorry for offending you guys. Everybody, I know y'all like the lastly banner. The banner at the end. Banner. I'm Bruce Banter.
Banter.
I'm gonna
Bruce
turn.
Is that who you are, Bruce Banter?
Bruce Banter.
Maybe. But Dee Dee Lee, I gotta go back. He did say she had, Lady True had a phone booth, so she was trying to be the Dr. Manhattan, but trying to be the genie from Aladdin. That shit was funny. Anyway.
For real.
She was trying to tap into the Matrix.
I don't know. Dr. Manhattan kind of did look like Will Smith.
Speaking
as
of which,
Aladdin.
Yahya Mateen, who is our Dr. Manhattan, our Cal, he's going to be in Matrix 4. So
He's more.
Oh.
we may see him be young Morpheus. We're not sure yet. But Yahya Mateen the second. Yahya Abdul Mateen the second is his name. So look out for him as Morpheus. As Morpheus, or maybe not Morpheus, I don't know. But either way, he's in Matrix 4 confirmed.
Nice.
Why are they doing that again?
Black Hannah.
Are the Wachowski sisters? They're doing that?
Yeah, they are. They are.
It better be better than Jupiter Ascending. That movie had high hopes for me, and it just fell flat on Mila Kunis's big ears.
Yeah, we're
So good. Bye, guys. I'm gonna end this.
Don't forget your lube.